Welcome to the Fellowship Podcast, a place where we get to know the people who make up the Baptist Bible Fellowship. In each episode, we sit down with pastors, missionaries, and ministry leaders from across our fellowship to hear their stories, their ministry journey, and a few lessons they've learned along the way. Our goal is simple: to connect leaders, share stories, and strengthen the mission. And now, here's your host, Randy Harp. Let's join the conversation.
Well, welcome to our next episode of the Fellowship Podcast. Excited for you to join us today. I have one of my great friends, someone that I've known for, it's actually going on 7 or 8 years, actually a student of mine in Bible college, and just a great, great friend, Andrew Perez. Hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Andrew, we're talking all the way. He's in the Philippines right now, in Manila. You're right in Metro Manila, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, right in the middle of all of the hustle and bustle. And yeah, I was just telling you a little bit earlier, I am ready for bed.
Yeah. So it's early in the morning here in the States and late at night in the Philippines. So I appreciate you taking the time and staying up, especially having a little girl and a wife that's pregnant. And so I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Hey, Andrew, take just a second and kind of introduce yourself to our audience. So I guess as a reminder, the last several weeks we've had a lot of the keynote speakers for the fellowship meeting that's coming up on, and Andrew is speaking on Wednesday night of the fellowship meeting in Tyler, Texas. But if you don't know Andrew, Andrew, take just a second, kind of introduce yourself, share a little bit about where you grew up and maybe your home church.
Yeah, I grew up in Arizona. My wife always laughs because, and when somebody asks me where are you from, I always struggle. I'm like, is it where I was born or where I was raised? For most people, it's both. But the only cool thing about me really is that I was born in Hawaii, but we moved when I was like 2 months old, so it stops there.
So did the surfing carry over? You do a lot of surfing in Arizona too, right?
Not at all. And despite what most people think, it does not make me even a lick Hawaiian. So that's a bummer. But yeah, I grew up in Arizona, and my home church is actually Church of Celebration in Maricopa, Arizona. And so that's really how I got connected with Mission U, BBC. It was through my pastor. So I grew up going to that church, and the way, I always question, how does somebody from Arizona end up in Missouri? Very seldom does that happen. I probably couldn't even have pointed to it on a map, but I was able to be connected through my home pastor there. So it was cool to see God align a lot of those things to see where he's brought me now. But I grew up with 2 incredible God-fearing parents who are still serving in the same church up until today, doing an incredible job there. And so it was really because of my parents that I've got to know the Lord and have a passion for all of the things that really they got to model for me. So they've just been huge, impactful in my life. And so I was wrestling with, probably around my high school senior year, what in the world am I going to do with my life? Had no idea, not even a clue. And then somebody had brought up to me, is actually the father of Josh Barrett, who's the pastor there at Church of Celebration. He just mentioned to me one night, and he's like, have you ever thought about going to the Philippines? And I said, no, I don't even know where that is. Why would I ever want to go to the Philippines? And it was kind of through that prompting. He's with the Lord now, so I can't wait to thank him again one day. But it was through that kind of bold prompting from him, and of course the Holy Spirit working in my heart, that the Lord kind of put me on a track for missions. Had no idea what missions was. Didn't really know what a missionary did from a day to day. Couldn't tell you. And nobody in my family was in ministry. Nobody in my family is a missionary. But it was so cool to see how throughout the whole thing, the Lord was just really guiding my hand. And so that led to a move to BBC, of course, now Mission University, and was able to call home church there in Missouri was High Street. And that's where I was able to meet my incredible wife. And we got married during the whole COVID situation. So that was awesome. We had 6 people in our wedding, which was incredible for the budget. But of course, a lot of people missed out.
I got to watch it from a distance, from a very far distance.
We heard people from afar clapping in their trucks and keeping a safe distance. But yeah, that was sweet. I guess a benefit from that is now we have the Facebook Live forever on our profiles whenever we want to go and watch our wedding video.
A very inexpensive videographer, right?
Totally. But yeah, after that, after we got married, we just kind of began asking, man, where would the Lord really want us to serve a missions internship? Our desire was, of course, to be missionaries, and we kind of had our hearts set on somewhere in Asia, but weren't really entirely sure where or exactly where the Lord was leading us specifically. But we decided just to shoot for the Philippines. It's a place that we had both been to. It's a place that we loved. Of course, the Gochers are there. We love them. And so we're like, why don't we just shoot for the Philippines? And if the Lord wants us somewhere else, let him redirect us. And I really think it was helpful for us to not stay stagnant and but just to kind of do something and let the Lord direct us as we go. And it was at that time, around that time, we got to serve our internship at Granbury Baptist Church with Pastor Lonnie. And that was so formative for us and such a blessing. It's really a second home for us. So we got to serve, youth ministry, and it's really awesome to serve at that church because, you really get to have a hand in every ministry.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, the staff there, it's just like family. So that was an incredible blessing for us and really helped prepare us to get started in a new season of life. I guess from where I grew up to kind of how the Lord led us into missions. That's kind of our story.
That's incredible. I love hearing that. Hey, let's go back a little bit. I want to, some of the things you just talked about, I want to maybe get a little more. Who were some of the early influencers? I know you talked about your parents being God-fearing. You got great parents. Who else? I know you talked about the pastor there.
Yeah.
Anybody else that were early influencers on you?
Yeah, I think especially even my grandpa, and there was actually a young, I was of course the same age as him, but when we were younger in middle school, there was a young guy named Riley Johnson, who was a skateboarder, and he kind of had this testimony where he was of course not living for the Lord. The skating scene, there's some stereotypes that might come with, and for good reason, but the Lord radically changed him. And I remember, as somebody who grew up in the faith, and of course I was passionate for the things of the Lord, but it was seeing his faith even at a middle school level that I really feel like the Lord used me to say, like, let's put this faith to action. Like, start sharing your faith with your friends. And we started a Bible study together, got to see a lot of our friends come to Christ. So it's really neat to see how even in my much younger years that the Lord is already sending people to help inspire me and really mold me into who I am. But from him, of course, my parents, and I think what a blessing. There really are a lot of stories where the Lord does an incredible work and maybe saves somebody from, this lifetime, 20, 30, 40 years of running from the Lord. But I'm grateful, really, that my story is that it really is my parents and my pastor. It's like, it's such a cool story that, man, I didn't feel like at least for the vast majority of my life, felt like, oh man, I know better than my parents. They don't know what they're talking about, but it's really God's grace that He just opened up my eyes to, hey, your parents actually know a little bit about life and about what it means to follow the Lord. And for the church that we were at, I just allowed me even to get really close to my pastor. And so he would have these, I forget how many times a year, but he would basically hold a small group with young, passionate people. It's like there's maybe one in my middle school years and maybe two or three in my high school years, where he would just invite me and maybe 5 or 6 other people into his home, and we would just open up God's word. We would maybe follow through a book, a Christian book. And even those years, to see people around me, to see older people who weren't my parents that loved the Lord, that were passionate about seeing people saved and seeing people discipled, that has, I think, carried me in my love for people, but also to see them to grow up in the Word. So, yeah, my young friends, my dad, my grandpa, who's just incredible, and of course, my pastor there. So.
And you also kind of went quickly by, you talked about your wedding. Hey, talk just a second. I tell people all the time that you and Kelsey are a power couple. Both of you love the Lord. Both of you are evangelists at heart. Talk a little bit about Kelsey and, meeting her, and then just, you talked about getting married and during COVID, but talk a little bit about how you met your wife and how she's a partner with you.
Yeah, it's awesome when you hear about somebody before you've ever met them. And that's, anybody who knew or knows Kelsey, her reputation precedes her. And she was working with Stu Mo and on campus ministry there at Missouri State. And she was working 70, 80 hours a week, which really is just winning college-age girls to the Lord and seeing them plugged in to the church there at High Street. And I just love that I'm still even meeting people today that were like, oh yeah, Kelsey discipled me in college. And I'm like, how many different girls have I met who Kelsey has impacted? And so it was funny. High Street actually had two separate groups at the time. One was for a college age group, and then the other one was, I guess, more so like young professionals. So Kelsey's just a tad bit older than I am. So we weren't in the same class. It was like a Wednesday night. And so we would come, there's always food and fellowship. And then we would go off and split off into our classes. I stuck around just to help stack up chairs and stuff like that. And Kelsey actually had forgotten her jacket there in the cafeteria. And so I just did my thing and charmed her. And no, I think I blacked out because I forgot to tell her my name. And so I knew who she was, but I didn't really know much about her at the time. And she's just like, I don't know who this guy is, but maybe he was trying to flirt with me or something. I don't even know what his name is. But then I asked that it might have been Logan Counts or possibly Jared about who this girl was, and I only heard great things. And I'm like, man, if this lady loves the Lord, but not just says that she loves the Lord, but I can see the fruit of her love for Jesus. And I'm like, this is certainly something I have to pursue. So after asking around, and a couple months later, I asked her to copy. And on the first date, which I actually hadn't planned on talking about my heart for missions or wanted to be a missionary right away, didn't want to scare her off, wanted to slowly, but,
work the charm, right? I know, work the charm first.
And so I asked her where she would see herself in 5 years, just because, in my head, I'm thinking I'm being clever, like, let's see, like, if she could be open to moving or open to becoming a missionary. And she answered it, and it was staying, of course, faithful to ministry. She's always viewed herself in ministry. She didn't really mention anything about missions, which wasn't a red flag. I mean, it's incredible that someone's just, for the foreseeable future, I just want to serve the Lord. And but then I don't know how I didn't see it coming, but of course she hit the Uno reverse card, as some might say. She just flipped the question on me, and I'm like, how did I not think that she would ask that? So of course I had to mention, well, hopefully in 5 years, I'm serving maybe as a missions intern to become a missionary someday. And she said she went home that night and talked to some of her friends that were at the house, and they're like, how did it go? And she was just wide-eyed. I don't know. So she said she really from there was wrestling. Is missions, and I think maybe this is where the tension was, is missions truly something that now the Lord is calling me to, whether or not this relationship works out. Or is it something that I'm just considering because I met a cute guy? No, she didn't say it that way. I might relish the story a little bit, but
Yeah, I'm sure she'd tell the story the exact same way.
yeah, let's not get her on to try and validate that story. But she was, and then a couple of weeks later, we were, I think, headed somewhere for a date. But I got caught up, I think, in a parking lot talking with someone. It might have been Blaze actually, but I hadn't texted Kelsey that I was running late because I was talking. And she's like, for some reason, my mind immediately went to, what if Andrew died? And I was like, I'm gone for 25 minutes, and you all automatically put me in the grave. But yeah, and she said that she was standing in her kitchen, and in her kitchen on the wall, they had just this really big world map, and on it was different places on the world that they would pray for, unreached people groups and things like that. And she said, for some reason in that moment, it's like everything happened at once. She felt like the Lord really pressed on her heart. If Andrew did, for some reason, or if this relationship didn't work out, she said she really felt like the Lord laid something on her heart, something like, would you still obey me and would you still go? She was like, I knew at that moment that no matter what, she's like, I knew that the Lord would call me or use me to help make disciples anywhere on a foreign field. And so it was just it's really such a blessing to see the Lord confirm that burden and that passion to reach people apart from each other. And I really just felt like after that, we're like, well, then let's go. Let's plan the wedding tomorrow. I think we planned it for, it might have been August. And then, of course, that season of COVID happened out of nowhere. We already had a lot of our ducks in a row as far as like who would marry us. And well, actually, maybe that was the only thing that we figured out. It was Pastor Eddie. And we're like, if the world shuts down, I mean, we don't know really what's going to happen to the extent of the lockdown, what that would even look like. So we said, before everything shuts down, Pastor Eddie, would you marry us tomorrow, or do you have some sort of reservation? And he's like, well, we could do it in the parking lot. And he's like, do you guys have family in town? And we didn't have any family in town at the time. And so we're like, well, no, but we can go Facebook Live. And I didn't have a ring, so we had to go to Walmart. I got this like $12 ring that I ended up losing in the ocean. It was the wrong size, not my fault. But then I had to get a suit there. I think it was like Dillard's was the only thing that was open that hadn't closed. Kelsey had already gotten her dress. And then literally the next day, Pastor Eddie married us there at the High Street parking lot. So we just knew, man, the Lord has, of course, called us to the mission field. But now we just feel like if the Lord could use our marriage to be better together than if we were apart, then let's just get this thing done. So and then that was, of course, followed by a really sweet season where I feel like, somebody gets married, you might have your honeymoon where you're able to really connect with each other, but then it's back to working a job 9 to 5. You have separate schedules. But COVID for us was actually a really sweet moment because we feel like the Lord accelerated our marriage faster than maybe other people get the opportunity to have, spending all that time together. So it was, of course, a bittersweet season with everything that was happening, but it was just so cool to see the Lord's hand even in a moment like that where we couldn't have seen anything like that expected. So.
Oh yeah. No one knew any of what was coming. So
yeah.
You've had a great opportunity to work or be around three great pastors, from Brad, your home pastor, and Pastor Eddie Lyons at High Street, and then Lonnie Lehrman there in Granbury. Let's talk about your time in Granbury. What's something that you learned? You talked about it being a formative time in your life. What's something that maybe you learned from Lonnie or Heather, or just being a part of Granbury Baptist?
Yeah, I understand it's so cliche. There's so many things I really could pick, but I think the thing that has made the most long-lasting impact on me is just to be willing to do anything and anything to win somebody to the Lord. And even moving into that position, I know Lonnie would probably never say it because he loves me too much, but at least publicly. But I still had a lot of pride that I was holding on to.
Mm.
And it's like, man, here are these things that I really know that the Lord has allowed me to be good at. But the things that I'm not so great at, well, that's just not me. That's not my job. Somebody else who's better or who's talented in that area could pick it up. But when you get around a team like that, that really the culture just is permeating the staff, even all the way down to the volunteers. But it's like everybody is going to do their absolute best, no matter what the task is. And to see the initiative, and even if it's something that you're not great at, which is great when you get to see Lonnie serving, is if it's something that or you're looking at me like, how did you learn that? Like, you must have just grown up like loving to do that. He's like, well, no, actually, it started out like, I'm even thinking for like cars. It's not like he grew up and was just I was in mechanics and was going to be a mechanic, and then the Lord called me to ministry. But it just starts from, man, there's somebody who is lost and far from the Lord who has a broken down car. So I'm going to act like I know what I'm doing until I figure it out. Things like that. And then over time, where you're just available and willing for the Lord to use you, he grows your skills and things like that, which is, I mean, even true about like building things, helping, build a church, or make any type of handyman type of activity, or mowing lawns. It seems like something now you probably just do this because you like doing this, but all of it it's just connected to a story of no, there was just somebody who was lost that had an overgrown lawn. And so I took my lawnmower and I just asked them if I could mow their lawn for free. No strings attached. And then you see and meet people who are now faithful church members, where all of their stories started that way. So it really is, it was eye-opening to me that I had limited God's ability to reach people because I was afraid of maybe being embarrassed that I wasn't good at something, instead of just saying, well, Lord, you know me, you created me, you know what I can't do. So I'm just going to extend myself and try, and you're going to have to meet me where I'm going to fail. So something like that, with taking initiative, loving people enough to even embarrass yourself, which sounds, not that profound, but for somebody like me, who my whole life wrestles a lot with pride, with making sure that I feel like I present a good image of myself, it was transformative for me. So it's even still things.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's transition a little bit to where you are now. So you are an approved BBFI approved missionary in the Philippines. How long have you been there? I know you work with the Gochers. Talk a little bit about what you're doing just here in the early part of your ministry in the Philippines.
Yeah, well, actually today, August 15th, is our 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So it's the cliche, I feel like, is the days are what is it? The days are short, but the years are reversed.
Days are long, the years are short.
Yes. That's what I feel like. I'm like, 2 years already, but then there are, I think, parts to just adapting to a new place where you're like, this day has felt like eternity. But it has been.
That also comes with fatherhood, Andrew. That also comes with being a dad.
That might play a part in it somewhere. But yeah, having the Gochers here and all of their, of course, wisdom of being here for 20 plus years was such a blessing to us, moving right away. And even just thinking of some missionaries who have moved to fields where there's nobody, and nobody has laid the groundwork. They don't know where to buy furniture. They don't know how to set up housing or something like that. So to have the Gochers really sacrificially, really hold our hands through a lot of that preliminary stuff was just so nice. And so we've been able to, for now the past 2 years, to have the opportunity to kind of serve alongside already existing ministries, or really we got the opportunity to start even a young adults ministry, while at the same time doing some language learning. So that's been cool, because we don't really feel like we've been shouldering the weight of an entire ministry while trying to balance and juggle doing something like learning how to live somewhere and learn the language.
Yeah.
So it's been really sweet. So we started out just attending a Bible study, getting to hear from believers who are already here in the Philippines, have been following the Lord for longer than we have, to hear their hearts and hear and even hear from them the way that they see the Lord and spend time with Him. So that was really awesome to join a small group right away and to hear them. And then we transitioned into starting a small group of our own. So we've been in the same small group now for, I think, a little over a year, and have just been able to lead that, and it's in our home, which is so fun. And Kelsey is just such an expert at hospitality. She's an incredible cook. Of course, if anyone has met her, she's warm, she's inviting, she's bubbly. So to see her in her element serving in that capacity has been really fun to watch as well. But it's like, I think it's a total of 5 couples or so, and one soon to be married couple. So we've just been, walking through. We walked through the book of Acts, which is incredible, especially for a couple of young believers. If we've got time, I want to share a story about that. But walking through that, and then now we've just picked up the book of Ephesians, and then they'll lead it when we're furloughing in the States. But really cool moment when we were walking through the book of Acts, when we got to Acts 19. It's that story of, I'm blanking on the city now, but it's where a bunch of these magicians came to Christ, and so they're gathering together basically to publicly burn their books. And before we went over that chapter, I got a text from a couple who had just been following the Lord for a little over a year, and they had told me, Pastor, which is funny that people call me Pastor. I don't know if I'm used to that yet, but Pastor, we've got a bunch of idols in our house, and we kind of put them all together and we put them in a room, but we didn't want to basically get rid of them because, one, there's a lot of ties to being passed around the family, so there's a lot of sentimental value, and they could sell for a lot of money. So then they're also thinking, well, should we make a profit off of this? And but he sent me a text saying, I just really feel led by God for us to destroy them tonight.
Mm.
It's just like, whoa, like these are the types of, I feel like, stories that I've been able to read about missionaries being able to experience. So that night, and a lot of the times, mostly these idols are like small, like saints that they would have maybe on the dash of their car, or kind of scattered throughout their house, that would either provide them with some sort of luck, protection, or for some of them, they're the mediator between them and Jesus. And so I'm just thinking, all right, yeah, we can just bring however many of them that you got. We'll put them in like a beach towel, and we'll literally just slam them with a hammer. And we got finished reading the chapter. It was incredible. It was powerful. And then we got to transition into that time where before everybody left, we're going to do some idol smashing. And he brings out of his car, I'm like, no joke, like this like 3 foot, maybe close to 4 foot statue. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know if that will fit in our garbage can. And so it was just a really neat moment to see him even articulate. I haven't gone over that chapter in a while, but the Holy Spirit takes time to mention the worth that they could have sold those books for. And even just thinking the same thing, he could have made a great profit off of these things. He could have, for the sake of not upsetting family, given them back to family. But from his mouth, he was saying, I don't want to put that burden on anybody else. So it was just one of those moments where you just really feel like, man, praise God that I was allowed to witness something like this, to see a family's life change like that. Yeah. And now both of their children are following the Lord, and his son, I got to lead to the Lord, and he was just serving in our young adult conference. So to see to see God not only change lives, but to get rid of those strongholds and then to see it then bless their children is just such a beautiful thing to be able to witness.
Yeah, that's an experience that you'll take with you the rest of your ministry, the rest of your life to remember. So,
Yeah.
what's something right now that God's teaching you? Lessons that you're learning right now, whether that's in ministry, just in your own quiet time. What's something God's teaching you right now?
Yeah, it's funny. There's like this recurring lesson that you think, man, praise God, I matured and I learned that. I don't ever have to go through that again. And then even just recently, we've been having some trouble with normally our like visa approval process can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months, 3 months maybe on the long side. But it's been 7 months now, and we still haven't basically got a definitive yes, you've been approved and you're going to get your passports back. So we've already booked flights back to the States, and it's possible that now she's saying we might not get our visas back in time or our passports back in time, and it's illegal to leave on an expired visa. So I feel like through that, the Lord has really just been kind of teaching us that we're really living on the Lord's plans, on His wisdom, and on His timing. And I think the counter to that is, I think it's popped up maybe a lot in the form of entitlement, thinking like, "Oh, the Lord owes me like
Yeah.
at least a cushy week. Can I have a cushy month, please? Like just make it nice and comfortable." I think it was like the first 2 months that we moved here, we experienced like 3 or 4 blackouts where we lose power. We lost water for like multiple days in a row for multiple weeks. And it was just funny in those moments, Kelsey and I were talking and we're like, man, the sinful side of me, if we could be honest, is Lord, we moved halfway across the world and
Yeah.
we're missing family terribly. We miss our church. We feel like we've been laying everything out. Why are things not going swimmingly? And I really feel like in all of those moments, whether it's something small like that, like losing power, losing water, or cars breaking down or something like that, it's like just reminding me, man, the Lord doesn't owe me anything. I mean, he gave me Christ, and that's more than I could ever need. But for some reason, because I think that we're being obedient to the Lord, it's like, man, I'm racking up points. Can I cash some of those in
Yeah.
can I get water to wash our clothes?
Yeah.
But it seems like when the Lord is like stripping away those things that we feel like we're entitled to, like a smooth trip back to the States, but now our visas aren't getting approved. It's just a reminder that, man, the Lord is in charge, but also He's always good, and His timing is the best timing, and He knows what's best for us. So the best that we can do is try to, chart our path, and the Lord will order our steps.
Hey, all right, we're going to end this with some lighthearted, a little easier, fun things.
Let's do
One, I can't imagine any other answer, but if you weren't a missionary, if you weren't in full-time vocational ministry, what would you be doing? Professional
Probably
soccer player?
I was gonna say jail somewhere, but I'll take professional soccer player. Yeah, it's fun. I want to give like a quick answer, but I really do feel like so much of my young adolescent life, I was trying to figure out, man, what do you love to do? And I never felt peace about anything. So it's really even hard to picture my life. If it's not ministry, if it's not missions, what is it? If it's not missions, it certainly would probably be church planning in the States. But if it wasn't anything in ministry, maybe like probably like freelancing, like graphics or things in the digital art realm. I like doing that. So maybe something of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, very talented at that. All right, here's some quick hitters. So I want to give you two options and you just which
All right.
best is you. So would you rather read a book or watch a movie?
Watch a movie.
Are you early to arrive or are you fashionably late?
Early to arrive. My dad always told me if you're on time, you're late.
All right, so this may be different now than what it was a few years ago when you're in college, but do you stay up late or do you get up early?
Man, my heart and soul want to stay up late, but these days it's been looking about a little earlier than I would like, and then early to rise. Pippa's pretty consistent. She's like a 6:30 to 7 a.m., which I know isn't too terribly early, but that I get to wake up and spend time with her at around 6:30 or 7.
Yeah, yeah. So Pippa is your daughter. How tell everybody how old Pippa is.
Yeah, Pippa, she is now probably around 2.5, and she is incredibly excited. She's always talking to my wife's belly. Got a baby now, of course, coming in December. Yeah, she's got curly hair. She's full of words right now.
Yeah.
And the thing I've been most shocked by is her ability to memorize. So I know I feel like a bunch of different kids are really gifted in certain things, but I'm like, bro, we got to pour into that.
Yeah.
Get her some flashcards. I've got her learning like crazy exotic birds, which nobody ever cares to learn, but we're just testing it out.
And what's gonna be frustrating for you is when she starts picking up Tagalog faster than you do.
Oh yeah, I mean even already, and even her pronunciation, I'm like, wow. Our teacher's always drilling us not to aspirate our T's.
Yeah,
but she's already sounding like native. So I'm like,
all right, are you a plan everything in detail or just go with the flow?
Go with the flow. That's why I need my wife.
All right, do you prefer a good cheeseburger or a good barbecue?
Burger for sure. I think
you weren't in Texas long enough to go with barbecue. Come on.
I'm such a fake Texan, and I don't even like to mention to people that I'm from there because I don't even like biscuits and gravy, which I know is borderline heretical.
What?
Yeah.
All right. Live concert or a live sporting event?
Live sporting.
Yeah. Which sport?
My dream is to go and see a Chelsea football game in London. So I've been to a couple of soccer games in the States, but my favorite team since I've been little is Chelsea Football Club. So if I could ever see that live, man, that would be a dream come true.
So you were on deputation for a while. What's the better road trip snack? Salty or sweet?
Always salty. Kelsey and I could, maybe in an ungodly fashion, kill a bag of chips faster than anybody I've ever seen. So we're always preferring savory over sweet.
Yeah. So that's what's going to keep you awake when you're driving on deputation, right?
Yeah, that's my excuse. I'm tired. Can you give me another bag of chips?
Theme park or a national park?
Oh, I grew up going to Disneyland, so there's for me a lot of nostalgia around an amusement park.
Okay, when you're flying, all the time you're flying back and forth to the States, do you prefer an aisle seat or a window seat? You want that extra leg room or you want to see what's going on outside?
Yeah, God didn't bless me with height, so I don't normally complain about leg room. So, but you can ask Kelsey. No matter where I'm sitting, I'm normally asleep before we leave the runway. I mean, not so much with Pippa anymore, but I think my second or no, it was on our survey trip where Kelsey and I got to come and see what we were getting ourselves into here in the Philippines. I slept 10 of the 14 hours. I don't know what it is, and my neck always hurts. It's never like in a comfortable position, but it just puts me to sleep.
It makes the travel go by faster, that's for sure.
Yeah, although I feel guilty now if I sleep that long, especially with Pippa in the mix.
All right, do you prefer to cook at home or eat out at a restaurant?
Cook at home. I mean, there is not a cuisine I feel like Kelsey hasn't mastered. So even if there's ever a desire that I have, oh man, she can cook. So
she can knock it out.
Yeah. Plus, we're one of those high maintenance like millennial couples that can't have gluten or dairy. So especially out here in the Philippines, it's a struggle to find places that we can actually enjoy.
Oh yeah. Can you find all the ingredients to cook whatever you want to cook at home?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Fresh produce, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, and meat. So I'm like, what more could we need?
Yeah. So if you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, are you choosing pizza or tacos?
Oh, those are literally two favorite foods.
Or neither and something else.
No, you hit the nail on the head. My mom, she has perfected this homemade taco recipe from my dad's side of the family, which is the Mexican side. You can't tell by my complexion, but I do have some half Mexican in me. So whenever my mom makes homemade tacos, it's with the homemade salsa.
That's it. All right. Hey, Andrew, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. You got any last words of wisdom or any last thing you want to say before we sign off?
Man, I'm excited to spend some time with everybody at the fellowship and just to be encouraged and hopefully by God's grace be able to be an encouragement to some people. I miss everyone there and just can't wait to hang out with everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, giving you a hug. And is Kelsey and Pippa coming with you? They are, yes?
Of course, yeah. Nobody would, not just me.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but So, hey, do give Kelsey tell her I say hi, give her a hug, and give Pippa a hug for me. I'm looking forward to seeing them. So, for everybody, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Fellowship Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this. Again, just want to have conversations with who is the Baptist Bible Fellowship. So we'll see you in September in Tyler. God bless.